Well, it's a little bit after 5:30, so we'll go ahead and start. I want to thank you all for coming to our second public meeting of the Cuyahoga County Council Districting Commission. My name is Virginia Venny, and I'm a chair of the council. And with us, we have three of our other council members: Ken Lumpkin, Martin Kolb, and Tom Byer, who, if any of you come to the university for other things, probably would know him more than you would the rest of us. Good evening.
Hello.
So, then we have several staff from the county, as well as the contractors who do the statistical work, and Bob Dykes, who will be giving more detailed presentation than I. Teresa Lozak, who I failed to introduce this morning because she was standing behind me, so I apologize for that. Hello, Councilman. Boy, he is so dedicated. He's here for the second meeting. Welcome. The reason that we're having these meetings is to present our recommended new districting plan for the 11 districts of the county council. I know they have not been in office in these positions very long, but then the county charter, the new county operation of government, of course, is not very old as well. But we are required to do a new districting plan, as you will hear, of course, in the state of Ohio and some cities in the county as well, because we have a new census. The original districts were drawn on an estimate from the 2000 census, and so any changes that may have taken place and changes in population, of course, over that period of time, do show some shifting in population that requires some changes in these 11 districts, except for one, which Mr. Dykes will explain. We want you to know that we had 6 meetings to go through an iteration of 8 different plans. We would send them back if there were questions that arose, either that members of the commission had or members of the audience raised, and that included the council people themselves who had questions or wanted changes that we might accommodate. Our commission is an independent group. We do not have to have a plan approved by either the council nor the county executive. We are appointed to do this, and under the charter, the commission is responsible only to ourselves, and we believe, of course, to the public that we're here to serve. We're all volunteers. I think all of us are retired from some position, but we give our time without any remuneration. The requirements of the state and federal constitution for districting, of course, we have to follow, as well as for the county charter, which establishes its own requirements. And the commission, when it met first, added 3 requirements that we would look at beyond what we needed to meet in the federal and state law. And that is that we would try to prevent any changes in any splitting of municipal lines and any other districts other than the city of Cleveland, which of course is too big. Welcome Councilman Jones, who's especially interested in this process. Welcome again. So we managed to do that. We managed not to change districts across any municipal lines. Secondly, we wanted to keep each council person in the district that they were currently elected to. So they would not, you wouldn't be looking at a district with a new number if you're going to vote where you would have a different district for that particular councilman. So even though the lines change, the number of the district in which that council person is currently elected would stay the same. We've managed to do that as well. Pardon me, Councilwoman Conwell. I didn't see her earlier when she came in, so we have another council person here. And so we did. We managed to keep the council people within the district to which they were elected. We wanted, most of all, I think, to minimize any population changes across the county, since it's a new form of government, and since we have newly elected officials, they've just been there about 7 months. We tried as much as we could to keep the magnitude of the change down. And I think we accomplished that pretty well. Each time we did an iteration, we actually reduced the changes itself, so that now the plan you'll see today, there's 90% of the people who are in, of all the districts that you're in, 90% of the population has not changed at all. It's only 10% that is moved on the margins of these districts. With that, I'm going to let Mr. Dykes, who can articulate this much more successfully than I can, take over and go through the plan and the rest of the requirements that we're trying to meet.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I'm Bob Dykes, and our company was hired by the county to work with the commission in the drawing of these districts. And two of my comrades are here with me, Dr. Larry Brisker, with whom I've worked many times, who was assisted in the drawing of these districts, and we've drawn the wards in Cleveland on a number of occasions. And Ms. Teresa Lozak, who is our mapping and GIS and census data expert, who the maps you'll see and the populations that you'll see are all her doing, taken from the census data. So we're the people responsible for all of that. Let me just add to one thing to what the chairperson said about the commission, and that is, if you look at the way lines are drawn in Ohio, they are drawn almost entirely politically. If the people drawing them are almost always elected officials, like the members of the council, or they're party officials. The City Council of Cleveland draws their own districts. The people who draw the state districts are the elected officials in Columbus. This commission, by law, could not have any elected officials on it. By law, it could not have any political party officials on it. So this is as close as you get to a citizen panel as there can be. The information that we're going to show you is on the county's website. So you can take notes if you like, of course, but all of this information is accessible to you on the county website, and you can review it. Can they download it and print it, Teresa?
Yes. Probably can. You betcha, copy, paste, and print it, huh?
Okay. So it's there for you anyway. So that's one of the reasons we're not sort of handing things out here today. I'm going to go through. We're here to hear you today. We're here to hear your views and listen to what you have to say. We had a session this morning that was very lively, and we wanted to hear what all the people who came this morning said, and we did. The same is true for you all this evening. We're happy to hear all of you have your say about these districts. I want to go quickly through why the districts have to be redrawn. We talked about this the background of the commission and the process, and what the new districts will look like then, both geographically and demographically. So why are the districts being redrawn? The districts we have now were specified in the charter. Larry and I drew these districts that we have today for the charter. So if you don't like what we have today, you can blame him and me. They were drawn on population estimates. Since they were drawn, we've had the 2010 census. By law, each of the districts has to have similar population. As you will see, they do not. Some of them don't anyway. According to the census, this is the population of the county, and dividing by 11 gives you 116,000 and some odd residents for each of the districts. As a general rule, the districts should not vary by more than about 5% from this number. And as you will see, they do not. In fact, they don't vary by more than 3%. And these are the districts that will be in place for the next 10 years. And they will not have to be redrawn until the next census, which will be in 2020.
Can you explain something? Who drew the first set of districts and what criteria did they use?
Well, I said Larry and I drew the first set of districts. And the criteria we used were essentially that based upon estimated population, that the populations be similar, and that we not divide communities, and that we didn't divide any community except Olmsted Township. It was the only one that was divided. And that, so all the other communities in the county were whole, except Cleveland, which is too big to be whole.
Can you hold questions till we get through? And then we have unlimited time to follow up, so if you can remember.
Yeah, you can make whatever comments you like, and you know, we'll
Yeah,
follow up.
Just try to finish it since it's pretty detailed.
These are the current county council districts, and as I said, as you can see, looking at the suburban communities, none of them are divided, and the populations, based upon the population estimates at the time, were all fairly close. And these are now the population of those 11 districts based upon the census in 2010. And using the rule of thumb, which is a good rule, that the populations should be within 5% of the average, these are all within 5% of the average, although some of them are close to the edge on one side or the other. But these three districts, 1, 4, and 6, all are more than 5% above the average population of a district. And these two, 10 and 7, are more than 5% below. Now I'll ask Teresa to do what we did this morning and go back to the map. Oh. Maybe we can't.
No, we can't. You just have to go to the website.
Yeah, for some reason it's not there.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Now, as I said, just to reiterate, the districts that are above, more than 5% above, are 1, 4, and 6. And the districts that are more than 5% below are 7 and 10. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that neither District 1 nor District 4 touch District 7 or District 10. So in terms of making a simple adjustment, you can't take population out of District 1 and put it in District 7. And you can't take population out of District 4 and put it in District 10. What does this mean? This means that you're going to change more of the districts than just 1, 4, 6, 7, and 10. Because as you take population out of 1 or out of 4, you're going to change the populations of adjoining districts. And so you wind up changing almost all of the districts in the county have a change to some degree or other. Some change more, some change less, but all but one of them wind up changing. The commission, I think we've pretty much covered this. Just to reiterate, the meetings of the commission were all open to the public. Any of you could have attended any of those meetings. We had public comment at all of those meetings. We had input from the public and from some of the council members, and we took We took cognizance of many of the comments that were made and made some changes in the district based upon the input that we received, if it was consistent with what the commission had established as their guidelines. The districting commission is independent of everyone. So it is its own final authority now that it's been appointed. And just as a note, the state of Ohio was also redrawing the state districts. That process is totally separate from this, has nothing to do with this. Their process will not change any of the county council district lines. In addition, the city of Cleveland and a number of the suburbs are redrawing their ward boundaries. And those processes also are ongoing, and again, will have no impact on the county council district lines. What criteria did the commission have, the redistricting commission have for redrawing the county council districts? Again, we had to be within 5% of the average population, which is in a sense another way of saying we had to pay attention to one person, one vote. And we had to pay attention to federal and state law in that we could not pack nor dilute African American residents nor Hispanic residents. And just parenthetically, and I'll come back to this, we don't compared to some other large cities or counties, we don't have a significantly large Hispanic population, although obviously we have Hispanics here. And so under the proposed plan, almost half of the Hispanic population is in one district. So I think to the extent that we could deal with the Hispanic, and you'll see those figures on charts that we'll display in a little while. I think that we've concentrated the Hispanic population in one district to the extent that we could, and similarly with the African American population, 4 of the current council members are African Americans, and 4 of the current council districts have a majority African American population, and 4 of the proposed council districts have a majority African American population. So I think that we have fairly dealt with the African American community. Other considerations, to the degree consistent with the previous points, to minimize the number of residents possible, to not split any communities if possible between 2 or more districts. Again, the population of the city of Cleveland being larger than several districts, you have to split Cleveland. And if possible, the charter was somewhat silent on the question of what happens under certain circumstances if you have more than 1 council member in a district. So to avoid any legal entanglements, if it was possible, the commission wanted to keep 1 council member in each district, and luckily we were able to do that. This then is the proposed council districts. I'll point out a few of the things that took place. District 2 is the district that is pretty much, not pretty much, it is the same as it is under the current plan. District 4 is the district that loses the most of what it currently has. It loses both the communities of Seven Hills, Brooklyn, and Lindale, and picks up Middleburg Heights. But again, if you remember, District 4 was well over the 5% mark in population, and it had to lose population. And under the current configuration, it is fine. The districts that change the least under this plan are 1, 2, and 3. 1 simply loses Olmsted Township. 2, as I said, doesn't really change. 3 gains Brooklyn and Lindale and loses a little piece of Ward 13. The 3 districts that change the most are 4, 7, and 8. Those are the ones that change the most. District 7 gains Ward 6 from District 8. District 8 loses that. District 8 picks up some of Ward 12. District 10 gains University Heights. District 9 gains Pepper Pike. District 10 loses University Heights but gains Highland Heights. So there's some movement back and forth, but again, the populations are all correct. The communities are not split. The African American districts, again, have a majority of African American population in all 4 districts. The Hispanic population is concentrated in District 3 as it is now. So no district lines are ever perfect, and I would not say that these are perfect, because you can't draw perfect districts. But I think that, that we met, I think the commission feels, and certainly we as consultants feel, that we met the precepts that the commission laid down, and to the extent possible, we drew districts consistent with those criteria. These are the pieces of the various communities that move. If you don't see your city, village, township, or ward on here, then you're still in the same place, same district that you were before. As you can see, given that we have something like 59 suburban communities and 19 wards for a total of 78 different places, there aren't a lot of places that move from one district to another in the whole county. If yours is one of them that moves, well, that's the way it turned out. There was no intent to move any area specifically. No one was intentionally disadvantaged here. So those are the places that move. And then the next chart will show you let's look at the total populations. First of all, you can see District 1 was almost 12% over, District 4 almost 8, District 6 over 7, and you can see District 7 was 15% below, District 10 was 10%, almost 11% below in population. Now if you look at the deviation from the average, you see 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 2, 1. There's 3% is the biggest. Again, we were allowed to go 5. We didn't squeeze the lemon on any of these. We tried to play it right down the middle, and we were fortunate in succeeding. The next chart shows the African American and Hispanic populations. Again, the Hispanic population is concentrated here in District 3 and among the current districts, and you can see Hispanics are spread out throughout the county, but there really is no concentration of them beyond District 3. The number of Hispanics in the new District 3 is actually greater than in the old District 3. So we've made an improvement in that regard, but the total population of District 3 has gone up so that the percentage actually comes down a titch. In terms of the African American districts, you can see that there were 4 districts that had a majority-minority population, although District 7 was somewhat low in terms of that population. And now with the changes we've made, you can see that the 4 African American populations are more balanced than they were before. They certainly give minority voters the opportunity to elect a representative of their choice. So again, I think as far as minorities are concerned, we have drawn a plan that is consistent with what we set out to do. On the website, there is a place for you to express your support or opposition to these districts, and to, in your own words, say why you support them or why you oppose them. And we certainly would welcome all of you to go on the website, and you can have your say here, obviously, but you can have it, so to speak, in writing on the website. So that's, did I leave anything out, Madam Chairperson?
I think not. We'll find out when we get questions. What somebody wants, it may not have been in there, what they want to know. All right. Yes.
First, weren't the districts basically the 2010 house, or the 2000 house districts drawn by the state roughly? The existing council districts, I'm not saying exactly, I know.
It couldn't be, because there were 12 and a fraction House
Okay.
districts. There are only 11 council districts. You can't shoehorn 12.2 into 11. I mean, is there some similarity?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
some
I look at
similarity.
the map, but I recognize a lot.
No, yes, there is some, but they're not they were never, there was no district that was originally drawn that was the same as any House district, although there were several that were similar.
Wes, did you also run like Secretary of State Jennifer Brunner in her congressional redraw for 18 seats after the last presidential election, and the redrawOhio.org? Did you look at some of their rules? I'm really worried about how Cleveland is split. Shouldn't Cleveland be as many whole districts as you can get in there to eliminate the fragments where Cleveland on your new map is, what, 2 complete districts and fragments of 3 others? Where to maintain a Cleveland representation would probably be 3 districts and a fraction of a 4th. Because I've seen some discussion about the fragment checks.
Well, actually, if you look at the council,
Yeah.
you will see that district, I'll use the proposed districts, but they're close enough. District 2, which is a majority suburban district, is represented by Mr. Miller, who lives here in the city of Cleveland, and that District 9, which is very, very largely a suburban district, is represented by Council President Connolly, who lives in the city of Cleveland, and that District 8, which has 2 very substantial suburbs, and as well as several Cleveland wards, is represented by ably by Mr. Jones, who is in the city of Cleveland. So the mixed districts did not elect. I mean, I think what you're saying is people were afraid that the mixed districts would elect suburbanites. They elected Clevelanders.
Part of that has to do with the politics.
So I would say,
Parties in the county.
if you had more districts that were entirely within the city,
Yeah.
you would have fewer members from Cleveland on the council.
But did you also look at how important it is to retain an existing councilman in their district? Is it more important that we choose the politicians, not the politicians choose us?
It's more important that you choose the politicians,
Yeah.
and that the retaining the council people in their districts was the lowest level criterion we had. The other federal law, 1 person, 1 vote, all of those, keeping Hispanics in 1 district, not dividing communities, balancing populations, all of those things came first.
Then you divided Cleveland into at least,
In no more than it was.
well, but should you have approved it to go to 3 in a fragment?
Where did Joe go? You're gonna do this?
from Cleveland if you did that.
Yeah. Yeah, would you give your name? We are making a record for everything else. So what I'm gonna do is have Joe Nani bring the microphone over to you too, since we're being taped. Okay.
I'll bring it back to you.
Okay.
I'll be
Sure.
What I'm gonna do is hand you the mic, and then I'll have to give it back to Bob or
okay,
whoever's
first.
responding.
Are those the members of the commission? Okay, I'd like how many commissioner members do we have there?
I did have a request, there are 5 commissioners.
Okay.
And let me give you our names again, because Councilman Miller made a point that we make sure that, that we are introducing ourselves. 4 of us are here. Mike Cleary is not here, but it is on the website, all of our names, and I think the bios even are.
Okay, what I'd like to do is give each one of you all, what I think is, a better plan. And I think I have enough here for, did you get one? Here, ma'am, I'm sorry, pardon me for tossing it like that, hi, how are you? Good. Here, can you kind of, that folk up there, Councilman Jones, did you get one? Okay, I think I have 25. You know, I'm not a big shop kind of person, but, yeah. Now, I'll wait until everybody, I have one for you also, Mr. Dykes, if you'd like to see it. Okay. Okay, if everyone has one, to me, the most, if you look here where we say comparisons of Plan A5, that's Mr. Dykes's, the consultant's plan. And I want to say I have all the respect in the world for Mr. Dykes and Dr. Brisker. I've known both of them for a long time. They're very able, very capable gentlemen. Now, to me, the most important thing here that I thought about is the second paragraph, which is my plan, the A5A plan, has only 101,552 population, or 7.9% of county residents changing districts instead of the 130, almost 131,000, or 10.2% under Mr. Dykes' plan. So that comes out to be approximately 30,000 less county residents that have to move from one district to another, 30,000 less. And so this plan that I came up with, to me, clearly moves the least amount of residents. Now, if you look on the left side where it says city/ward/precincts to change is, excuse me, I was doing this real quick from this morning, so we might have some errors here, but in terms of that. But if we go down to, let's come all the way down to Ward 5 precincts, that if they went to District 7, there are 11,685 people in those precincts. Now, so what are we talking about? We're talking about a portion of Ward 12 that is now Ward 5 that was once upon a time Ward 12. So, what we're doing really, not only are we not moving a lot of people, we are putting an old neighborhood back together. An old neighborhood really that's not separated by anything other than, you know, you're going 5 feet this way or 5 feet that way. Instead of adding Newburgh Heights and those couple of other suburbs. Beg pardon? Oh, okay, I'm good. Instead of going here and getting Newburgh Heights and Cuyahoga Heights, you know, which really, that's not, I don't want to say natural, but you can see if we just swing it on over here and include that portion of Ward 5, And then District 7 gets, District 7 is already, District 7 has a portion of Ward 12 in it. Am I correct? Okay, Madam Councilwoman. So now, to me, what you're proposing is, let's break it up again. Let's break it up again. What I'm proposing is, let's not break it up again. Let's make it whole. Let's make it whole. And in making it whole, we're going to give 11,000 people, 11,038 or something like that. And it's going to be more natural. It's a more natural fit than all of a sudden coming out here and picking up these couple of townships, communities that, you know, really don't fit in terms of that. And it's, the real thing is keeping as little movement as possible, keeping that population movement down, keeping it as low as possible. And we're 10% under his. That's my point. And that's what I'm hoping that shows you all.
Hey, I'm confused on one thing.
Yes, sir.
Where would Newburgh Heights, Cuyahoga Heights, and Brooklyn Heights go in your analysis here?
What I'm reading is it looks like it's still in District 8.
8.
Newburgh and
Yeah, you know, if we have to pick up something, that's good. But what I'm saying is, don't take away all of Ward 6. Don't take away all of Ward 6. And instead, let's make Broadway and Slavic Village, that whole area that once upon a time was one contiguous area until it was divided into by a couple of councilmanic redistrictings that occurred. Let's make it whole again. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm recommending.
We'll take this. This is part of our record. We'll look
Thank
at
you.
it again, and thank
Thank
you
you.
for taking the time to actually go through this. We appreciate it.
Do you have any more copies of that for the
Yes,
commission?
sure, absolutely. Do our copies go on or what?
Yeah.
Well, mine is on my computer. Hold on. That's yours. Beg your pardon?
We can make.
Okay,
copies.
thank you. Yeah, feel free.
We'll get them around.
It's not copyrighted.
Yes.
Good work, Nathan.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, and we have your question, and give us your name again. if you-
Yeah, my name is Anastasia Pancios, and I just have a question, which is why was District 6 designed the way it was to sprawl across half the county? Is there a rationale for that? I'm just curious.
Why is District 6?
Why is District 6
Sprawling.
all over the county like that?
Right.
Exactly. I'm wondering about that.
Well, I wouldn't say it's all over the county, because it certainly doesn't go very far west. But if you look at the communities that are in District 6 in the current council districts, you can see that most of them share that, with the exception of some of these which were removed in the proposed plan. They share a common denominator on that they're on the border of the county. So these are all kind of exurban districts. And again, to the gentleman you're sitting next to, his question, if you look at, I can't remember the House district number, but there is a House district that looks something like this, along with District 98.
Politically gerrymandered. It's one of the most politically gerrymandered in Northeast Ohio.
That's certainly your opinion is your opinion.
Well, it also, doesn't that also allow us to keep those more urban districts together to meet that for population for African American communities as well? As you see, 9, 8, 7, and 10, yeah.
And those communities have a lot of space and not a lot of population.
Right.
So you're looking at a lot of area there with small populations, like Pepper, on those 5,000 here and 4,000 there and so forth. That's why you've got
Yeah.
that large area.
Yes, sir. Here, we'll bring this over.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Greg Roberts. I own Pearl Rock Construction, and I am president of the Fairfax Business Association. And I'm just kind of confused. It seemed like just yesterday we had to restructure the county government, and everybody was very happy, and everybody's getting settled in their seat. And then I look up here and see my whole ward, I'm in Ward 6, is going to be removed to another district. And that's kind of cultural shock. And, you know, I've been talking to a lot of people, and what the heck is going on? No offense to the other representatives. It's just that we have already established a working relationship with the people that we have in place. And, you know, we worked hard to help them get there. As soon as we get them in, there they go. And it doesn't seem fair. Plus, we have the ear of our leaders. We have a wonderful relationship with them. With Mr. Jones, I can reach him anytime. I can go down to his people. He buried my brother's family, their business. And we have a wonderful relationship. Now we breaking this off before we even develop anything. So I would think those factors, the human factors, should be considered when you're putting these redistricts together. No offense, I know you guys spend a lot of time in doing this, but you can't discount, you know, relationships and that we're breaking off before they even get a chance to even mature. And we're trying to get something positive going. So I didn't know the main reason for why wasn't it done when they first started with the new process of electing these people. But as soon as you elect them, here we go, change. So it's just like a shock. And I wish you guys would consider that we have a wonderful relationship with who we're working with. And that's why we went through the reforms. So please.
We talked that a lot, so I do understand what you're saying. I think you came in a little late to hear why we had to do a new districting. Okay, and it is because the first districts were based on an estimate of population from the 2000 census. By law, every 10 years when they redo the census, you're required to go back and do another count. And of course, the 2010 census is what just was completed, and that's what we're working from. I absolutely hear you that you'd like it to have more of a human factor in it. It is based by law, and it's subject to challenge then, you know, which is the next problem if you don't do it by the statistics. So that's, you know, that's what we did explain, and I understand your frustration, though. I appreciate your comments. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, here.
I'm Angela Davis, Central Committee member. I was here this morning, and I kind of feel like we're really just wasting our time, especially with you two gentlemen right there. You two are really condescending, and you're not caring at all, because I heard you make a comment this morning saying that's the way Ward 12 has always been, and that's the way it's always going to be. Why does 12 get to remain the way that it is, but everything else has to be broken up?
Well, it is broken up.
I really feel we're just wasting time because you all aren't going to take our feelings or our issues or anything into consideration. I just really don't. I think we're really sitting here just wasting our time. You all are sitting there taking your notes and pretending like you care, and you really don't. Because if you really care, come in Ward 6 and you would see. We have no schools, and again, like I said, we haven't had any high school graduates in over a decade. You guys don't care. You guys are out there on your little sailboats with your little white lily, white fences and your green grass, doing your thing. Your districts aren't being broken up. We are, and it impacts us. We have people that can't be employed, they can't get jobs. Then when they go sell drugs, you all lock them up. And then when we get somebody that can give them a program to help them get an education and keep them off the streets from selling drugs, what you do, you snatch them away. So now you're taking away all our young people's hope, because this is the hope for Ward 6, Mr. Purnell Jones. for
I
your
understand what you're saying after, pardon me?
Because you know what's going on.
You wanna say that
I
again?
think I talk loud enough. I
Go
said
ahead.
the reason for you bringing us here, I think, is to try and pacify us, and like you want us to feel that we are included. We were not included. The communities was not included.
All right, well, I hear you, but all of our meetings were open to the public, and we had public comment before and after in each case.
But you had
And all,
comments, but you went right back and did what you wanted to do, and nothing is gonna change by us being here.
well, you don't know
Well,
that
I
that's
hope
true.
so. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I
I
understand.
but I'll see.
Well, I hear you. Yeah.
I do my research.
We will take your comments back. And I don't promise that it'll be changed completely, no, but, you know, we will look at them. Yes, ma'am, you're here again.
Yes, ma'am. Alma Jones, I was also here this morning, and
Are
I
you
asked a
related
question.
to him?
Pardon me?
I said, are you related to him?
If I am, then it's some real strong family. Hallelujah.
There you go.
Once again,
There you go. That's right. Okay, Mrs.
it's a very
Jones, go
popular
ahead.
last name. We all know that. Once again, I was here also this morning, and I asked a question, and I really didn't get any clarification on the question. I'm looking at, I don't have my glasses on. I'm looking at the gray area. I'm looking at the blue area, and I said, if there's any lines that need to be redrawn, why can't we take communities from those two areas? I didn't get clarification on that. Why can't we take take a slice of the pie from somewhere to make it comparable to District 7, where we don't lose District 8, Ward 6?
Well,
They have to be contiguous. In other words, the communities have to join each other. You just can't jump over 2 or 3 communities and take population.
Okay, so if I'm looking at the outside areas, the outside gray areas and the outside blue areas, which are close to District 7, isn't that conducive to what we can do to keep our ward? I'm not understanding this.
well, I'll tell you one reason, and it may not be, you know, one that you think is good enough, but it is that we tried not to split up, and we did succeed in that. Any cities, any municipalities themselves. Now within Cleveland, you have wards that change because the city is so big. So that's the reason. You see, we did move, and those districts do then reach that average number that we're looking for. That is actually what the goal was, is to choose to move fewer people and nobody across municipal lines. Not changing municipal lines, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
It's just so amazing that all these changes are coming so close to 2012, to our new election. And also, one of the reasons that we've lost communities is due to illegal foreclosures, job loss, the schools, which is truly designed within the African American community, and which it never should impact families, and it does. And my heart goes out to 6, and it goes out to our African American community. There should be changes. Ward 6 should not. It should not be cut up.
Should have been cut up.
Yeah.
They cut up once.
Because this is just so unfair.
I know.
And we understand what the laws are, but the law should support and protect these wards and these families. And
Well, it is awfully soon, I understand, and then there's the election coming up, so you have those changes. We don't have any control over that. I mean, even though you may think, you know, you have all of the other complaints, we have only control over doing the lines as fairly as we can. And that's not, you know, it doesn't satisfy the problems that you have.
understand
Yeah.
that there should be dynamics put in place to protect these wards.
I understand.
Can I just say
Thank you.
something?
Well, yeah, and this gentleman here then.
Okay, I have respect for the representative, the county council representative of Ward 7. So I'm gonna put a little humanitarian piece into this. Doesn't she have enough problems? Because we have enough in our district. So just being humanitarian. I don't know what she's doing in her district, but I'm pretty sure she has some very she has some challenges in her district, within her wards that she needs to address. So therefore, you're proposing to put an even larger ward into her district, a ward that has maybe more potential problems, needs, and concerns that maybe the wards within her district don't have.
Well, I hear you, but again, that's not, part of any of the thing we're trying to do. That is your elected officials' responsibility. They run for that responsibility. They take it on. It's tremendous amount of work and effort, and they can't solve everything. So understand.
That's exactly why we're trying to keep
Sure.
our representative in our district right along with our ward.
Yeah, but remember that she had the lowest number that we had to raise. She was 15,000 people low, and the average to meet the requirements of the law. And so, yeah, I understand. Let this gentleman here who's raised his hand before, go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
And there's, okay.
Yeah, my name is Vic Kalova. I'm mayor of Garfield Heights. And actually, we're very fortunate in Garfield Heights because we're staying in District 8. And I just wanted to say that I can appreciate the difficulty that the commission has, because if the census is forcing you to do this, how do you get around it? I also understand that at this point in time, when these districts were all split up in the first time and everybody was put into a district, I think everybody was a little bit skeptical of how it would work. And 7 months later, I think everybody is very pleased, surprisingly so, how well everything's worked out with their council people and with their districts. But again, I understand that the problem you're facing. The question that I have is there a way that instead of changing the districts, that you could change, and I don't know if it's a law or a procedure that calls for what population you need? Is there another way to attack this without going through the redistricting? I don't know the answer to that, but.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. Have you had that question before, Mr. Dykes?
Well, the short answer is no. I mean, the Supreme Court, to take you back in history to when I was very young, the city of Cleveland had a lawsuit because it had wards, but some of the wards had more than twice as many people as some of the smaller wards. And so somebody brought a lawsuit and said, this is not right. It wasn't on that case, but the U.S. Supreme Court said, one person, one vote. And that meant that the populations had to be pretty much equal. If you look at the congressional districts for Ohio, the ones we have now, and the ones the legislature will give us later this year, the new ones, they will not differ in population by 10 people out of over 600,000. That's how close. We're allowed more variation here for these local districts than the congressional districts are allowed. But they have to be virtually identical, because that's what the Supreme Court has said, one person, one vote means as it regards congressional districts. Now, I won't go into why that's so, because that's not part of our job here. But
And let me ask you this question, and only because I don't know. When the districts were first divided up into 11 different districts, was that 11 number picked because of the population size, or how did you determine that we should have 11 districts?
well, I'll tell you that both Larry and I were part of the committee that put the county charter on the ballot, and there was a lot of discussion and argumentation, and there were people who wanted 7, people who wanted 9, people who wanted 11, and people who wanted 13. And the best answer I can give you is that we all tried to come together, and 11 was the number that everyone seemed to agree on. And when you look at the map, there are, again, it's not the current map. Again, it's not perfect by any means, but there are, to an extent, as you said, some communities of interest among those districts. And people can differ with that and think they were drawn out of some crass political considerations, but they weren't. I think there really are communities of interest among many, not all, of the districts.
Right, and I certainly don't want to take up any more time, so this will be my last my last point, but when you said the Supreme Court dictates or mandates what you have to do, does that take
To a degree.
Yeah, very true. But would that take place in District 11? Could not we change the population? We can't do that?
No. No.
As a Cuyahoga County, okay.
I would,
Larry wants to add
yeah,
something.
I want to add something. I was one of the ones who advocated that we have 11 districts. And to that end, my thinking was that if we could get 4 majority districts, that 4 representatives would play a major role in what county government would look like.
Absolutely. It's true.
I have a question. Gentleman in the green shirt.
Give us your name if you don't mind.
My name is Pat Brown, and I have a question about the redistricting. You said that you put the county charter on the ballot and you were a part of the commission and everything. And it's a lot of people in the African American community that has been working very hard in our community. And we're just wondering how are the commission selected, you know, what your credentials are when you're making decisions that impact our community and why we don't have a voice for ourselves. You know, I'm just trying to figure out what the decision process, and not to take anything away from you guys, but you guys are making decisions for us and our families that impact our lives. And we need to know who chose you to make decisions for us.
Combination of the county council itself and the county executive who make the final decision.
Okay,
Go ahead.
one more question.
Go ahead.
Will there be additional meetings like this being held for our community to be able to have some voice about what's going on? Will there be additional meetings about this situation?
Well,
this
we've had 6 meetings and we will have at least one more. And you can check on the website. I believe the next one is September 8th.
Yeah, so if we organize and we draw up and we come up with some maps to suggest for you, you will be able to take that under consideration?
We'd like to be through. So if you'll go to the website.
It is.
Okay, so we do that. If you have a computer or you have a friend that does.
And we can do the redistricting and kind
You
of
can,
figure out some
send us
things for
any,
ourselves?
you can send us any information that you have that we could incorporate.
And we can send it to your attention. What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Aveni, A-V-E-N-I, Virginia Aveni.
Okay.
And you can send it to my attention.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And then put the names of all of the rest of the commission members are on there as well.
Just right here's the screen that's on the website, just so everyone knows. This is the screen view that you have, and you can talk about whether or not you agree with the current map, but it also gives you the opportunity here to write your feelings and opinions out in terms of what your concerns are.
But let me just remind you of one thing, and that is to go back and make sure you look at what the criteria are that we started with, because we do have to work from that, and so you need to meet those, which is why we've had eight different maps, right, that we've gone through looking for the best alternative, we think. Yes, sir. You want to give us your name too?
My name is Moses Carr. What I want to understand, how far are you going? How far are you going into the future? Okay, you say you're dividing up these areas. Okay, what about the business district? 490 is going to be coming through.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, when 490 comes through, that's going to wipe out a whole lot of business in these 2 wards. I mean, the business that they wipe out, plus the people who's not going to live with an expressway next door to them. So you're looking at a certain part of the city that's gonna be destroyed. You got areas where all the elementary schools have gone in the last 30 years.
Yes.
All the junior highs have gone, and you got maybe one high school in the whole area. People vote by their feet. When you take a school or a business out of an area, people leave. Why build a house for $200,000, but you still got to go 25 miles to get a loaf of bread? So the money is leaving the area. The expressway is gonna come in, but it's gonna shoot the people away from the city. Ward 7 and 8, by the next census, you won't even recognize the population.
I imagine that's true. You know, we still live with the total changes in the cities for the interstate highway system. And, you know, there's nothing that we can do for that. Your congressman can do something about it. And so you have to deal with the city and your other elected officials and your council people. But we have no control over that. I appreciate what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, it's just not right.
They just.
How did you get the information out to the community that these meetings was going on? I accidentally stumbled across this. I didn't know anything about it. And I'm very active in my community.
That's a valid criticism.
And this is something else. This is something else that gets me fed up. With you having meetings like this, is that when we come to these meetings, the decision is already made. Don't patronize us like that. Because the decision is already made. We're losing all our schools, our children. What are our children going to do about their education? Out there got their educations. They got there. But over in here, you want to make it harder for us. You're taking everything. You worried about the judges getting over there to the juvenile detention center because they don't want to come through the hood, but they won't run the freeway through there. I'm not understanding all of this right here. It's all about politics. You can shove that and say it's not about politics, but it's all about politics.
Well, I hear what you're saying. This is making.
And you're trying to make something out of something, but what you're doing is you're destroying it. You're not trying to make something better. You're destroying.
Well, we're not trying to do that. We are trying to make it better.
Well, how are you gonna make it better when you gotta tear up a ward like that? How you gonna make it better? Tell me this. I'm not understanding. And it don't take a rocket science to understand that.
Well, I hear you.
You understand? And see, this here really frustrates me when we come to these kind of meetings and the decision is already made. It's just like we're closing all the schools. When we get to the meeting, they just patronize us. The decision was already made to close those schools. Wasn't a doggone thing we could come in there and do about it. Because y'all had already made y'all decisions.
I didn't make that decision.
Well, you know who made the decision. They had already made the decision, but they just want to patronize us. I don't think that's fair. I really and truly don't think it's fair, and you're not caring about what's happening. Whatever is due is okay for you, it's all right. But what's okay for us, you don't care about it.
Well, that's not true.
And see, that's the only way I'm seeing it.
I hear
You got to show me something different where I can understand that you're trying to help us. But right now, I can't see it.
I hear you.
And I'm quite sure Ray Charles, if he was lit, he could see it. All right, I'm fed up with this. It don't make sense.
We don't need that microphone. It don't even work.
This doesn't work, does it?
It's not even on.
I just want to ask one quick question. I just wanted to ask one quick. My name is Denise Travis. I'm a Central Committee in Ward 6. A quick question. I don't understand this process, and isn't this a little unethical and illegal? Because we voted him in.
All right.
The people voted him in,
represent us.
so
That's
to
right.
represent us, I have nothing against Yvonne. I love Yvonne. I even helped her with her campaign. You know, but we the people, we voted him in. And the people voted Yvonne in.
Right.
So how can you come along and take the person we voted in and put us somewhere else?
Well, I just have to tell you again that there is a requirement that we equalize as best we can each one of these districts. And that was explained to you.
Yes.
Pardon me?
Didn't you know this before he ran?
It's in,
Yes.
it is in the county charter, and there would be
About the censor before we held the election.
2010.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So you knew about the censor, right? So,
No, the census was not complete. It was 2010 census, and it was just completed how long ago?
Okay, so
Just-
when we
just
have to
months.
revote, when we have to do another election? Or
Yes.
you guys can just place us where you want us to be?
Well, we're not, yeah,
Without-
that's exactly right.
Like we in
We're,
jail.
we're not trying to place you anywhere. It is a process. I understand the process is very frustrating because you have another election coming up. And he will be running again. Yes, Ms. Jones, and then we're gonna come back over here.
You know, I'm very direct. I don't like talking around people's heads. Who on this commission consulted, it's a question because I don't know, who on this commission consulted Mr. Jones, Ms. Conwell, about their views and how they feel? Because potentially, I guess I want to say potentially, he's about to lose Ward 6 and gain something else, I guess, according to this new proposal. She's getting ready to take on a big ward. So the question is, were they consulted? Don't they have
Well,
a
yes,
voice?
they were. Yes, they were. They
All right,
were.
well,
They
maybe,
were.
maybe we need to find out what they said and how
Well,
they feel.
well,
Because
I'm-
right now,
I think you know, Mr. Jones has spoken several times. He has been at several of our meetings. Was at the first one? Was it the last couple? And Ms. Conwell's been at most of them.
is this considerations, right along with Ms. Conwell, are their considerations really being considered on this proposed change?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And we actually, well, let me tell you, and we will let Mr. Jones speak, he always does, is that we had one extra meeting. Our last meeting was to take Mr. Jones' recommendations back and look at the statistics again. And remember, it's it's not anything anybody wants to hear, but it is based on numbers. It is based on population numbers, the best ones we can get. And we couldn't see, a way to change that. Now, I think we can invite both of them before we have a few other people to speak. Mr. Jones, you want to talk again? Because he is,
I'll let you off the hook for a moment.
he has done that, yeah.
That's right. They're definitely not off the hook. Let me say this. The map as it was drawn, as it currently resides, it was very effective. We have 4 African Americans. We have 5 Cleveland residents who are now on county council, and we know it has to change. I know changes have to take place. The concerns as the residents have expressed, and as I have expressed to you on many occasions, is that what has been done to District 8, I believe, is unconscionable, and it is too dramatic a change.
Yep.
District 7 clearly needs population. And you have taken 20,000 people from Ward 6 and moved it out of District 8 and added 15,000 people from Ward 12 and brought it into District 8. That is a 5,000 population difference that is moved into District 7. To give District 7 5,000 people, that is what you accomplished. But you have done it on the backs of the poorest people in the 2 poorest districts in this county. And I believe that is unconscionable. I believe it will lead to voter confusion and will impact votes on election day. Okay? There are better options. And I'll say this, these residents, I've met 95% of the people in this room today in the last 7 months, just from leather and working. And I'm proud that the residents have come out, and I'm not going to stand by and let them express their concerns and they not be heard. These residents have spoken out mostly because of the work that I've done with them just in 7 months. Just in 7 months. So I'm proud of that, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Someone said earlier, should the council person elect the people or should the people select? I think we know what we're hearing today in this room. What has done has been too dramatic, and there are better options. And I'm glad that there are residents in this county who came this morning and presented you with that option. And I know it went over the heads of a lot of people. It didn't go over my head, the option that was presented in paper that was passed around. And it didn't go over your heads because I know you understand what is on this paper. And to see these numbers and how they fit your criteria, and it does not move 35,000 of the poorest people. And you should consider that. This should not be another meeting where residents come, and they've done it for years, come to a meeting, express their concerns, and they bounce off a wall. I want to make sure that we provide a vehicle for these residents to have their concerns heard and responded to. Not, well, we want to be done by so-and-so time, or we already thought about that, or we already did that. No, this is their time. Let's respond. Give them a draft of what they've said. Let them see it. If it doesn't work, it wouldn't work. But if it does, we will all know it because they will see it. They're not experts. I know the district because I've walked it. I know the names you don't know. You haven't walked the neighborhoods. I've walked them. You don't know where they live and what they've gone through. I've walked it. So I know, just as you know as you draw the maps, we know they need an opportunity to see what they presented. This is their home. This is their community. If this was building a house, they're the homeowners and you're the architects. Not you're the professionals, but you don't live there. This is their opportunity to say what they want their home to be like. And that needs to be heard, and I will fight for them for the opportunity to simply see it in draft form as you presented your option. And I yield my time to you.
Any of the other councilmen have someone, Senator Yvonne, do you want to say something too?
No matter which district I get or I don't get, unfortunately, I feel very bad because I'm the one that they say needs people. I have expressed, I've been at every meeting but one, and I feel that all the council that was impacted went. The only one I missed was on my birthday. The census, unfortunately, all of us don't fill them out like they should. I have a very poor district, so I really believe that we have a lot of residents that weren't accounted for. We do. I've expressed that to them several times, that I have a big district of homeless population, a big district of the foreclosure, where many of the families didn't move. They didn't go to other states or whatever. They just moved in with their family. But unfortunately, due to the law, and they keep telling me that due to the numbers and those that did fill out the census, that we still have to go with this number that is split. There were several council people other than Councilman Jones that was affected by this. I have to disagree with some of the residents here. I do feel by being at every meeting, except for one, that they have listened to every council person, because we're the only ones that have come. It was put on the website, and many of our things will be put on the website to save paper costs. So if you're informed, stay on our website to find out what's going on and what meetings, because we can't get to every resident and call and be at every meeting to let you know. So stay addressed to our website to find out what's going on. I hope you do listen to the to Councilman Jones and his constituents that came out today and put this on a proposed map for them. I am the one that's really, I was happy with the very first map. It didn't make me go all over like this is affecting me. So I was happy with them, and so was several others. But there were other colleagues that were really impacted. Cities were taken out, so I feel that this commission has really heard those decisions. The last and final one is Councilman Jones. is with Ward 6. So if by any means necessary, if they can look at this gentleman's proposed plans, I do support that. And I'm going to ask Councilman Jones to walk some of these with me that he's trying to give me, you know, just so they can be familiar with me. And I will do the same for him, ever how this commission decides with District 12.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Here, I think there's, this fellow here wanted to speak again.
Yes, William McLaughlin. I live in South Euclid. Basically, as I said, I don't like the way Cleveland split up. What I'd like you to do is go on the website for, I think it's redrawOhio.org, and look at their criteria. They have criteria for splitting communities. They have criteria based on race, which, as per the voting rights law, you cannot dilute or concentrate minority or Hispanic voters. And they also, I believe it's either that or Secretary of State Jennifer Brunner had a system in there to calculate the area of the district divided by the perimeters, it's the other way around. I can't remember. So there was some type of compactness check. And looking at some of these, some are very nicely drawn. Some I probably would have drawn myself. Others, especially around Cleveland, you know, as I said, you've got one ward in Cleveland, one district in Cleveland, one that's mostly Cleveland, 3 that are split. And I will say I first met Councilman Dale Miller 30+ years ago when I worked for the city of Cleveland, and he was a councilman. So I'm not picking on you, Councilman, but these districts, I think, should reflect more the municipal boundaries. And I remember I was in the engineering at City Hall in 1980 when they redid the wards, and they had 33. And every 10 years, that was before your company did those. Every 10 years this is going to happen, and we're going to go through the same thing with the state representatives and senators. Yeah. Well, the congressional is different because we lose 2. And that's all based on the population. So I don't know what to say. I'd like to see a little more compact districts. I'd like to see some of the numbers. And there'd be some way I could get population figures from you off a website or something.
You can go to Cleveland State NODIS, NODIS, Northern Ohio Data Information System. The population numbers are all there.
Okay. By census tract and city?
I don't know if they've gotten down to the tract level, but we can't use tract line. The charter says we have to draw it by precinct.
Okay. And unfortunately, all those are going to change, especially in Cleveland.
Well, we use the precincts as they are
Yeah.
today.
Okay, let's let somebody who hasn't talked at all, and then we'll come back to this woman here.
Hi, my name is Beth Sebian, and I had a few questions. One, I was wondering about with the website itself, whether, since maps are such a huge part of this, whether there was a opportunity to actually submit like image files through the form. If there is, I think that would be valuable. Another piece is that I'm wondering, with some of these ideas that are coming in, it would be, I think, valuable for the public at large to be able to access them. So maybe if we could include on that form too, like a field or a checkbox where people could indicate if they're comfortable with their ideas being kind of published on the website or kind of shared with a larger group of people. So those are just kind of comments. And then my question was for your comment, ma'am, about like the publicity around this event. I was curious if you could kind of help educate me, certainly in the commission, on what you would have liked them to do in publicizing the event, kind of what how they can do it better next time.
Okay, how they could do it better. When you really want someone to know something, there's the news. Okay? Radio. A lot of people listen to the radio. A lot of people don't have computers to go on the computers and get there. I'm on the computer, but I did not see it anywhere on the computer letting me know about this right here. I had a phone call. Okay? And if it was on television, radio, we in our community, we always correspond with one another, letting everybody know that there's a meeting so-and-so, there's a meeting over here. Word of mouth gets it out too. But we have to know ahead of time where the meeting is, what the meeting is about, so we can get it out to our peoples, so that they will know about it, so that they could come. Because with something like this right here, this room should be full and overflowing. Because this is not just something that you can just push up under the rug and say bye-bye. It's not that simple.
I hear you. Well, I think I probably made an assumption that I was wrong with, and that was that most of the council people would let you know that this is going on. And I think since we have such good representation from Ward 8, from District 8, that is exactly what happened. But I do apologize if we didn't get enough notice out to everybody early enough. I think part of that is my fault.
Okay, Pat Brown, and no disrespect to you, Chairwoman, but the credentials of the commission to even make these type of decisions, where can that be found? Like, do these individuals have bios? Do they have?
Bios. The bios are on a link, aren't they? Yeah.
It's on your light? Okay, because then we can take a look at that.
Yes, Mr. Sackle.
I'm Bob Saffold. I'm a resident of Warrensville Heights, Ohio. I lived in Cuyahoga County over 30 years. I've seen a lot of these type of meetings, these progressions and regressions over the years. I think we're on the verge of doing something tremendously not only important, but can really take Cuyahoga County into a whole nother dimension on a positive level for all of us. I want to commend Cuyahoga County for the recent election when they elected these 4 people out of the 11 for the council. I'm going to address Miss Pat Brown, she's a former neighbor of mine. When she came in a little late like I did, okay, she was not introduced to the 5 district members here, and maybe she doesn't know who they're representative of. I know that Mr. Briscoe, I wasn't aware of, a good friend of mine, some 30 years, I won't say it longer, but he's an associate with Mr. Dykes. They've been around for a long time. And so you got a black person and a Caucasian person, the primary consultants, okay? I understand there was 1 or 2 African Americans or minorities on the district council. We need to know who they are so we'll know who's representing us. I think that's the central question. If you know who's representing you, then you can hold them accountable or responsible for the recommendations coming here. And if we don't know, we need to find out. So I think they need to re-identify themselves. At least 6 to 8 people came in after I did. So a couple of people asked questions. I think if they had been here with the introductions, those questions might not have been forthcoming. So if you would do this, introduce us to the district council, what maybe areas they live in, okay, so we'll know who's actually representing the various areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sackle. We'll be glad to do that. Dale, do you want to start over here and introduce yourself and tell them which district you represent?
I'm Dale Miller, and I represent District 2 in Lakewood Brook Park in the West Park area. But I got the impression from what the gentleman said that he maybe was more interested in knowing who's on the districting commission as opposed to who's on the county council.
I thought it was both.
Not just both, the county council and its privilege, the district commission.
Yeah.
One was appointed.
All right, well, I was appointed. We were all nominated, excuse me, we were all nominated by council members. You should know that. And then approved by and chosen by the county executive. So we went through, we submitted our bios to do that. And that's how we were chosen. I was asked to do this. I didn't ask to do it. And yes, I live in Lyndhurst, Ohio. I am a former state representative of many years ago, and at the time I represented a district that went from, and I'm sure your eyes will, roll at this, but I represented Gates Mills all the way down to Collinwood. And I shared precincts with Lou Stokes and Collinwood, and I did all of his distribution of literature in those areas. So I've been through this process at the state level, and I know how hard it is, but it does go on and will go on continually. So, I do appreciate what you're trying to tell us. And then next was, pardon me?
Are you losing your council, your county council representative?
I am not. I don't, yeah, I don't have that issue. But again, remember that the populations don't change that much in that area. Well, we have plenty of problems in the area as well, but I'm sure not the level of the city. Okay, all right.
My name is Ken Lumpkin. I born in Cleveland and raised in Cleveland, worked in Cleveland. And again, I was appointed by the councilman. We spent a lot of time with this. We've had 6 or 7 meetings on this, and as Councilman Conwell has stated, you had representatives here who were given an opportunity to discuss their concerns about the different concepts that were submitted. We discussed what the parameters were, particularly as it relates to the Voters' Rights Act, particularly as it relates to the seats of the African American community. A lot of discussion went into that. So I'm comfortable with what we've done. I'm comfortable with my colleagues here sit on this commission. I know you asked quite a few questions about who these people are, and you have a right to know who they are. But all my colleagues, they volunteered for this, and they have put a lot of work and effort into this, and no one has made a decision. This process is far from over. This is a public comment period. Okay, so your comments will be taken, and there may be that as a result of your comments, there'll be some changes made. All right, so this is far from over. All right, and I really appreciate you guys coming out here. I mean, I know quite a few of you out here, and work with quite a few of you out here. Raised hell with quite a few of you out here early in my early years. Yes, so. But no, they are. I'm very comfortable, and I think Councilman Conwell said it. If there was something that the Councilman Conwell, Councilman Jones, Councilman Miller, Councilman Conley, Councilman Simon, all those people were here doing all of this. But this is probably, in my mind, is the most important part of the process right here. And so we needed to hear from you, and we needed to know exactly what you thought about what we were doing. So this process is far from over. Go online, present what you think, what you've heard here today, make whatever recommendations you think, and so that's all I have to say on that.
Sir, the September 8th meeting is not the final meeting on this discussion.
Well, there may be some meetings, there may be some, we don't know yet. We're taking information right now, and I love Mary, but Mary, no one has made a decision.
Well, we do have one scheduled there.
I thought
but that's,
right.
that September 8th was the last meeting and the decision was going to be made. So I just need some clarification.
Well,
we'd like to make a decision on September 8th, but there may be several meetings between now and September 8th based upon the information that we received doing this, okay? And I assure you that you will know about it.
Oh, certainly. Good evening. My name is Martin Kolb. I'm a member of the commission. I was asked to serve initially by a local council person in my community, which is Shaker Heights. I was asked to consider it. I later met with a couple of council people, Council Chair Conley and Councilman Brady, and was interviewed by them, and then about 2 weeks later was appointed to this commission, and I'm very proud and happy to serve. I think Mr. Lumpkin said it best. I really applaud the way you answered these questions. We very much appreciate your input. That's why we schedule these meetings. We're not trying to give anyone the short shift here. There are no decisions that have been made. We went out looking for inputs, and you've given us inputs today. This is very important to us. I'll give you a little feeling for how today has gone. We met this morning here downstairs at 10 o'clock. There are 1.2, almost 1.3 million people in Cuyahoga County. There are 11 districts, and the only concern that's been raised all day long, the only concern has been about Ward 6. In fact, I don't think there was any other questions except one person this morning asking for the website address. So I want you to know that we take your input very seriously. As Virginia said early this morning, I think around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock rather, we will take this information back and evaluate it in the context of what we're trying to do. You need to understand that when you make a change here, it has effects over here. And that's one of the concerns we had. When we looked at Mr. Jones' proposal last week, it had significant impact on 2 other districts. So now we'll go back with this new information, which is, I think, Mr. Jones' latest input. And from the residents. Yes, thank you.
And I must say, I'm overwhelmed by the intellect, the passion, and the intensity that the residents have brought today.
Yeah.
And this is their proposals, and based off the things that was said here, I have looked at it, and it is far superior to my offering that I gave to you.
Well, okay, we'll look at this, as we said, and we'll evaluate it.
Provide them some feedback, written feedback.
Right, but we do appreciate your inputs, and we are serious. If you have an opportunity to go on the website, and if you don't, certainly talking to us helps as well. But we've certainly heard you loud and clear tonight, your concerns, and again, throughout the entire day, the only major concern, and it's not, I don't want to minimize it, is about Ward 6. So we've heard that loud and clear, and we appreciate your inputs. Thank you very much.
I reside in Cleveland, but I live in Garfield.
Huh?
Go ahead. What this, oh, H?
Yeah.
I'm Tom Byer. I'm in District 10. I live in Cleveland Heights. And I think the reason I was asked to serve on this is my history with this college. I worked here for 25 years, retired in urban studies, and I now am a volunteer in the college. And my work was always having to do with housing and community development. I think that's why I was asked to be on this commission.
The 5th member, we have one more member who's not here. He was here this morning and couldn't make the meeting tonight, is Mike Cleary. And he has been an official with the National Collegiate Athletic Association. Very dedicated guy. Now, he is, I believe, in District.
Westlake, I think he's in 1.
In 1, okay. So he is another suburbanite. I apologize, but yeah, very, yes.
Okay, good evening. My name is Marchette Frost, and I do apologize for my lateness. Thank you, Councilman Jones, for inviting me out here today. My question is, and I'm still not clear, are we saying that September 8th or 9th is that when the decision is going to be made?
We tentatively have a meeting, then we can make a decision.
Okay.
We have a cutoff date, you should know. We had 120 days from the appointment to the county council passed the resolution on it. We had 120 days to complete this process, and that date is October 12th. So that is a drop dead date, you should know that.
Okay.
Our next meeting, and if we don't find ways, we could make a decision, then I would just tell if, depending on what we find with the recommendations that come in here.
What is the
Okay,
time
so-
and place of that meeting?
The meetings, all those meetings have been at the County Administration Building on Ontario, and what is a public room on the 4th floor.
With the old commissioners hearing?
It's not the commissioners' hearing.
The old one,
Yeah.
the old one.
No.
Someone has the floor over here.
I'm patient.
And the time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 p.m.
Okay, the next part of that is you have a website which we can go to, and of course, we've already addressed, some people don't have access. So there was some consideration. Will there be consideration as far as putting things on radio, TV, to let people know? Because if you're going to take in consideration, like you said, what we put on this site, and also the consideration that this gentleman put forth today, you know, I think that is important to get that information out. Okay.
We'll see about that. We don't have any direct, either finances or support staff. We rely on the council staff and whatever they can do to help us with those things.
Okay.
They have, public information. We could do some spots on that, I'm sure. It's a possibility.
Just to let people
Yeah,
know.
but thanks for the suggestion.
Yeah,
And
and-
we are very aware, apologize for my voice. We are very aware that many people, especially in the city, do not have computers themselves. And they have to go to the library or to school someplace to find one. That's why we did schedule 2 public meetings. We aren't really required to do them, but I thought it was important that we have a place where people could come and talk to us.
Okay, and then again, like my thought, my feeling is just to really consider what we have to say. Not push it under the rug, but really, really consider it.
We will look at those numbers again, yeah, thank you.
Let me, Pastor Lorenzo Norris, out of East Cleveland, I'm not in Ward 6 or 7. I came, a good friend of mine shared with me about this. I don't think I need it for this gathering. Let me just, we represent about 300 churches plus all in the city and some outside the city. One of the things that I think I hear in this meeting, and let me say these on the commission, I think I know some of those here, and it's an independent commission, I think, that believe in transparency. And that was the reason for the change. And the only concern, I don't know all the, see, I know both council person, I know the executive, but my concern is that when we talk about transparency, we talk about being open so people can communicate, so people can dialogue. And of course, I share commissions myself. I know it's not an easy job when you got a whole lot of people sharing. But my point is that the website is fine for me, because I have staff, I have several secretaries, they can go and do that information. But when we deal primarily in Ward 8, 7, and 6, many of those residents don't use computers or websites. And when we talk about transparency, when we talk about accountability and people in the democratic process being able to express themselves and to participate back and forth and to feel part of, I think, I'm just saying to this commission, I know you're independent, you're not political, and I have no authority to say anything, but I hope you would consider primarily what I'm hearing from here and over here, that you would, if the county does not have a budget, do something with the corporate community and put this on the radio and the newspaper, so at least people can come out and they can participate, and that does not make you look like about sometimes, look like you're hiding something in the bushes. You follow me? And because most of your meeting is kind of downtown, and people might feel because the changes is in these wards that you are afraid to come a little bit closer to where they are at. Now that's just perception. I know it's not true. It's not true, but perception is very important when we talk about change, and you want to change, and you want transparency. So I hope that you would listen. You know, no one in East Cleveland mentioned it to me. I just happened to be on the highway in some way. I got the information. I just wanted to come and listen. But I think that if you would just kind of consider that Radio 93, and you know, you can raise money through corporate community. They get money for this. Right. Service them now and something. And you look like you're very skilled too, Bob, too. Some of you all. So I just want to just suggest that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
thank you so much.
I think we'll see if we can do some of that, but you do know about the other meetings now. And so please, you know, feel free to come down to that. Yes.
Forgive my speech, I was in an accident, so.
Making surgery
There
in
you
my
go,
voice,
so
so
you
you
can
can
appreciate. I'm not really sure if this works, but can you hear me? Can all hear me? Thank you.
It's for them.
Oh, okay. What's for you? Okay. My name is Marvin Patterson, and I live in Ward 7. And we have a wonderful council person, T.J. Dow. And we had Fannie Lewis, who made sure her residents was very well informed. And T.J. continues to ensure his residents were informed or are informed. I had no clue about these meetings, and I also am a Christian community activist, so I'm out there. If I didn't know, these ladies didn't know, there are many people in the wards that had absolutely no clue about these meetings, which is unfair because this impacts, as I said earlier, families. These are people, and we're forgetting the people. You know, I appreciate numbers. It was very well done, but every number represents a household and a person. Exactly. The African American community has gone through quite a lot of changes. We're talking from the children in education to the moms and dads losing jobs to property loss. This is devastating. And no one has considered the psychological effect on these people and the families and these children, and it must be addressed. This is a drastic change. And not only that, we're talking about individuals not knowing where to vote. And we're looking at all the issues, registration. Where do you vote? Where do they go? It will impact the voters. So this is a major undertaking, and the people must be considered.
Well, I understand. We did explain that there is no change in voting places here. The only change, the changes you get there will come, if there are any, and almost every year. I had to change my voting place 3 years ago, is when the Board of Elections loses a place that's usually willing to, you know, to be open that day, and then they move to another church or another school, and it is, you know, it is confusing.
Yeah,
so.
but the reason why you're doing this is because the population is decreased in these areas, correct?
Sure.
So that means less voters.
But just so you know, the drawing of these lines, no matter how they're drawn, the drawing of these lines will not change one voting location. The voting locations are all determined by the Board of Elections. This commission has no say.
Well, I understood what you were saying earlier, but it's the people. Sure.
My name is my name is Gregory Roberts, and I'm president of the Fairfax Business Association. And there's about 250 businesses in the Fairfax area. And this Saturday, we'll be celebrating our 15th year anniversary. And this news is devastating to the business people because we have just started developing the relationships with Councilman Jones. And to find out that there's possible this is going to be a complete change, it uproots everything that we've been working on. And I concur 100% with what this young lady just said. the people factor must be considered. You know, you can't move people too fast. You know, the changes are coming rapidly, and before we could even get our feet down planted and establish things. So I would urge you guys to strongly reconsider and change that ruling so that it won't be so dramatic on all of us. You know, I'm active and know what's going on, but it's devastating to me just what it do to the common layman around the neighborhoods and what have you. So I please strongly recommend that you guys reconsider these changes. Thank you.
Numbers from these boards into Ms. Conwell's district. So we'll listen to you. Yes, Mr. Jones again.
I just wanted to.
Exactly. We just went through a change.
Well, yes, you just got a new charter. That's right.
Yeah, because I was with Zachary, and then they moved me to Ward 6. Now you guys gonna move me again?
Because we're the poorest neighborhood, they don't care.
Well, if you go, I have to tell you, if you look at the charter dictated that we would have to do this. So we're doing this because of your vote for the county charter. It requires us to do this. It's actually in the charter itself. What is it, section 3?
Section
304. If you go back and look at the county charter that elected your representative, it dictates that we have to do a redistricting. We all voted. If you voted for it, that's what you got. That's why we have county councilmen now. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Jones.
As a resident of Ward 6, I want to personally address you, Councilwoman Conwell. Whether anyone cares if I have compassion or not, I do have compassion for your district and your wards, but I also must remain, I don't even want to say must, because I have freedom of choice. I want to remain with Mr. Jones because I know what he's trying to do for our ward. But I do have compassion for your ward within your districts. And I believe, well, my personal opinion, this is just me, but I'd like to think that some of the residents of Ward 6, we want to do something to help you because you do need these people. I'm here because I want to keep my ward within my district, but I also want to do something to help you. So personally speaking, I don't want you to feel, and I'm pretty sure you don't, that me and the rest of us are personally attacking you and not, I don't want to, in my conversations, make you feel like that you're not competent, because obviously you are competent because you have the position that you do.
Okay, if we could, if you have any more side conversations, if you could do those afterwards, it would be helpful. Anything else you want to say to the commission before we close?
I just wanted to respond to what Ms. Martin said,
Yeah.
and the response that the changes of polling places was not an issue. I want to give you an example. I ran for city council in 2005 and in 2009, and there was wards 5 Q and R. That's the Kinsman 93rd to Union East 93rd area, and they were part of Ward 5. Now I lost the race, but that particular area actually voted for me. Well, there was a redistricting that had to come, and those 2 precincts were moved from Ward 5 into Ward 6. Another change in this particular area. But their polling place, to your point, did not change. Their polling place remained the same. So I stood in front of this particular polling place all day, and as residents came in, they came out, they shook my hand and said, Mr. Jones, I'm going to vote for you. And some walked by and had no intentions of voting for me. But when they came out, some said, Mr. Jones, your name was not on my ballot. They gave me the wrong ballot. They didn't have the wrong ballot. Their polling place had not changed. Their ward changed. That meant they had new council people to select from. So I say that you want minimal change. One of your criteria, your original criteria, was minimal change in population to the districts as possible. When this process started months ago, that criteria is one of the top 1 or 2. In our current versions, it is moved down the paper some. I hope in the minds of the commission it has not dropped in priority. Please minimize the change as much as possible.
Well, you should know that of all the 8 maps we looked at, this district map changes the fewest people. It is, as Mr. Brisker had said, almost 90% of the population has not changed at all. So this does change it. You do, there are more in your district, and there are even more in District 4, where whole cities are moved.
And in this proposal that the residents of District 8 put forward, they don't change 10% as you put forward. Only 7.9% of the people have changed across this county, and that cannot be taken lightly.
Well, it's not, but let me say again, that the changes in other wards in the city and in other districts is, I think, what the question will be. And we do have to make those changes that equalize the 2 districts between 8 and 7.
I just would like to add,
Yes, ma'am.
if I might. Our polling place did change. I've been voting since voting age 18. I voted Martin Luther King. We received notices to let us understand it is now Wilson Towers. So if you're saying the polling places are not changing, I would like to have that in writing, because if it wasn't supposed to change, ours changed. A lot of our community was very, very confused. People were still going to Martin Luther King to vote. Did not realize it was changed to Wilson Towers. But I'm very grateful that I was notified. But it is a hardship because it's a smaller place.
Polling places certainly do change, and there are instances where they don't, and when they don't, there's still impact where mistrust of the system and the government takes place, just as that example I said. That's why minimal change is necessary.
Kind of an issue in any district, and in its suburbs as well as the city. You know, that does happen every time you get redistricting or you get, some changes in the election process. That isn't anything that we have anything
Right, but it
to do.
discouraged voters.
I hear you. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It does.
Right, it
Yes,
do.
okay. I'm gonna take just 3 more comments. If I don't see any other hands, then we're gonna close. Yes, ma'am.
Before the election or after the election?
Pardon me, I didn't hear you.
Would that go into effect District 8? Would 6 be moved?
It'll be before the election.
So have you ever thought about how that would impact, excuse me, have you ever thought about how that would impact the election?
Well, again, that's not anything we can handle. Mr. Dykes pointed out, it does take place with that election. And so you are gonna have to rely on your candidates, really, to help educate you around those issues.
Right, I know Ivana would be fine because she won't be elected till 14, right?
Yeah,
She'll be
yeah, that's
fine,
right.
She can get to know the people. But it's, his election, Parnell's election is in 212.
Yeah, we know that, right.
So that would have he's losing 20,000 people. And Ward 6 knows Parnell very well. So now he's losing his voters.
Right, well, he's getting new voters, I mean, put it that way.
But don't know him.
They don't
Who knows
have
him?
information.
Who knows him?
I'm not voting for nobody that I don't know.
Okay, who's gonna vote for him? What new ward that he's gonna get is gonna vote for him or anyone when he's not known? And I'm just saying that because I know that you have supposedly nothing to do with this.
Also,
but
that can have an impact on Ms. Conwell's election because
Her
now
too.
y'all done made Ward 6 mad, the people, and now they thinking thinking that she had something to do with it, when she really didn't.
She did, right.
And then,
you know, I can say the
word
people-
of mouth
Right.
travels because they say, oh, Yvonne took, which they don't really know that
Right.
Yvonne
We know
didn't
better.
take anything
Right.
from Parnell, but the perception.
We know better.
Then we'll lose 2 seats.
Yeah, then
We're gonna
then
lose two
African American
people.
community
Y'all
will lose
messing
2
with
seats.
two
We supposed to go out there and explain all of this to everybody. Do you know how many people that is? Oh, no. See, that's the problem. We have to go and do somebody else's job. And I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, so now she's got to work extra hard. Parnell's got to work extra hard.
That's right.
Do y'all realize what y'all doing? I don't think y'all realize what y'all doing.
Because I know the polling places change. I know the polling places change because I worked the polls. I had to start voting absentee in order for me to be able to vote because I would have to leave my polling place to go to another polling place where they had changed me. And if I didn't, I wouldn't have been able to vote.
I hear you. Wait, I know.
And I'm doggone if you're going to stop me from voting.
Yeah, the state of Ohio is gonna make it even harder if we're not voting. Yeah, but that's a different issue.
And then another thing that we have to take under consideration is the fact that it's going to pit these two individuals, communities, against one another. That's dividing our community during the 2012 election that we cannot afford. We can't afford that because people going to be upset with Miss Conwell. Ward 6 going to be upset with Mrs. Conwell because they're going to think that. Exactly.
The community doesn't know.
You tell them you did.
That's the voter.
You tell them.
Yeah, I bet.
And it'd be nice for you to, it'd be nice if you could, Mr. Dykes, it would be nice if you could go to Ward 6 and explain that to them at the community meetings. Yeah. I mean, it would be nice.
If they vote to accept this, I'll come to the ward club.
Why do we
Yeah.
have to accept you?
Somebody,
You make
some,
the decisions
somebody.
for us. Why do we have to accept you? You should just step on in.
Right. You should come down there and explain that to them.
Yeah, okay, I think the meeting is getting off the subject anyway, because you're talking about elections, which will come next. And, you know what, I will tell you that I will come, Mr. Dykes.
I'm glad to disagree with you. By us talking about going to different polls and potentially seeing a division between our council people, this is serious. It really truly is. Because with all due respect, I have a great admiration for this woman, but I don't know anything about her. So wait a minute. Do you think that I'm gonna go? Well, if this happens, then I'm willing to conform and accept change. But you're asking me, which if I must do it, to forget about him. And let's go see what she's all about because she is my district representative. So you can't sit back and say that this is some kind of apples and oranges. All of this is related. All of this is related because we here as Ward 6 residents are here to support Mr. Jones. No offense, Ms. Conwell, I don't see nobody in Ward 5. Right. So it's not something that, you know, I understand there's some emotions coming into this because we are potentially getting ready to lose a very important man to us. No disrespect to this woman here. So, no, don't sit up and tell me that this is not unrelated.
Yeah, I just, based on this conversation, I wanted to know whether the commission had any authority in when you kind of develop and publish your final decision, whether, I mean, you can commit in that publication to take some responsibility to going out to the community to share your decisions, that the decision isn't kind of the end of the commission's duty, but that there's, you know, if there are...
any responsibility or authority for that. I personally would be perfectly willing to go anywhere and explain this. Mr. Dykes said he would go to a ward club meeting.
And I will go too.
So I think, yeah, and
Dr. Brisker.
Larry Brisker, so you have to know that we will try to follow up on this, even though it's not part of our charge, absolutely. Thank you for asking the question. Okay.
Virginia,
All
I
right.
think we're getting repetitive.
Yeah, I think we've heard everybody, unless there's any new comment or any new question. I think let's wind this up. We told you when the next meeting that we at least have scheduled is. If there's anything else, we'll have that on the website. Your council people will know and can let you know about that as well. Thanks for coming, anyway.